From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, May 7th, 2019 meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Board to reconvene. The first item is roll call.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Next item would normally be the flag salute, but in lieu of the flag salute today, we're honored to have the Kern County Sheriff's Honor Guard present the colors, and then Sergeant Augustine Moreno will sing the national anthem. After we retire the colors, please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, and meditation, whichever you prefer. Thank you.
Detail. Halt. Left. Face. Present. Arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. Arms. Right. Face. Forward. March. Left. 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 Left.
Thank you. Seems like we ought to give our honor guard and Sergeant Augustine Moreno a hand. Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. Let me tell you what's on the consent agenda, and there's going to be a couple of minor changes to the agenda today. I'll tell you that as we go through it. Consent agenda starts on page 2. It consists of items 1, 6, and 8. Continuing on to page 3, it consists of items 11 through 14, and 16 and 17. On page 4, it's all the items 18 through 26. On page 5, item 27, although it is not on consent, has been withdrawn. It will be heard at a later date. Consent agenda consists of items, on page 5, of items 29 through 31, but 31 has also been withdrawn, and it will not be heard today. Also, item 33 is on the consent agenda today. Page 6, I believe it's all the items 34 through 41. Page 7, all the items 42 through 49. Page 8, item 50. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment about any of the items on the consent agenda or ask that any of those items be pulled for separate consideration? If you ask, a board member would have to actually pull that item for separate consideration. Mr. Fox, if you knew you were going to do that, why didn't you come down here and be right up at the podium right away? You've done this before. What did he say?
Item 29, I've always liked to pull. It's the one about the continuation of the fire hazard. What happens after you have a mega fire is everybody goes out and cleans the brush and gets everything straightened up and everything. Then next month, maybe a little less. Next month, a little less. They figure about 6 months, that's the end of it. So I like to keep reminding that. This happens to be Wildfire Awareness Week. So that's why I thought it'd be appropriate to bring that up. And notice we still have a bunch of dead trees, and we're right up there with where Paradise was this time last year. Except we got one more road out to escape, if that. One thing I have been looking at the habitat loss. The state fish and game, you would think of it, but they're kind of wrapped up with wolves. It seems to be the latest fundraising poster child. San Diego has had a fire caused by the steel bullets that I've been ranting against last year, and they have banned recreational shooting. Several forests have banned recreational shooting. They can't ban hunting, but they ban, I would prefer not, rather than the lawsuits over banning the recreational shooting, just ban the steel bullets. I do have a copy of San Diego's lawsuits and stuff that their board has gone through, and I think it'd be appropriate if I give it to your council and they can take a look at it.
Let me ask you to give that to Mrs. Krause. Thank you, Mr. Fox. Anyone else want to make a comment or ask for separate consideration of any of the other consent items? Seeing none, I'll return to the board for motion on consent.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That takes us to page 2 under the resolutions and proclamations portion of the meeting. Item 2 is a proclamation proclaiming May 7th, 2019 as Give Big Kern Day in Kern County, and Supervisor Magro will be making that presentation.
Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Good morning, Kristen. How are
Good
you?
morning.
I enjoyed sitting next to you. That was nice.
Long time no see.
You're the executive director, right? Okay, very good. Colleagues, I'm happy to be with you this morning. I'm joined by Kristen Beal, who is the executive director of the Kern Community Foundation. This is an exciting day for all nonprofits in our community because today is Give Big Kern Day in Kern County. And I'd like to read to you, Kristen, this proclamation from the Board of Supervisors. On behalf of the County of Kern, the state of California, we have officially proclaimed May 7, 2019 as Give Big Kern Day, one day to celebrate the giving spirit of Kern County. This recognition has been entered into our official board minutes by the signature of our chairman, the Honorable David Couch, on this the 7th day of May, 2019. This is an exciting day for all nonprofits, but I'd love to hear from you a little bit about what's going to happen today and what people might be able to do if they want to participate.
Sure, I'd love to.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much. Well, Give Big Kern, this is our fourth year of Give Big Kern. It is Kern Community Foundation's gift to the community as well as to all of our nonprofit partners. I'm excited to say that as of just a minute ago, we were at $215,000 raised so far, which is a new record. We have 130 participating nonprofits, and it is just so exciting to see the growth over the years. We now have nonprofit partners who have raised $45,000 through this initiative, so that's great. It's about not just raising dollars, it's about engaging with new donors. So that $215,000 came from over 1,100 donors throughout the community, which is great. It's also about volunteer hours. So there's really no excuse for not participating in Give Big Kern. The minimum donation is $5. I encourage everyone to just go to givebigkern.org. It's a little bit of a rabbit hole because there you can learn about 130 amazing organizations that are doing great things in the community. And I will also note that it's not just the volunteer hours, it's not just the dollars, but these nonprofits have been working through this effort since just past the beginning of the year. So they've been attending webinars and workshops, and they've been really coming together and figuring out new ways to engage the community in supporting this incredible, important work that they do. I mean, the nonprofit community is really such an integral fabric, part of the fabric that makes up Kern County and makes this community such a special place. So if you want to do more, you can go to the website. There you will see all kinds of events that are happening throughout the day. We've got nonprofits that are going to be at the Idea Hive. We have, there are just too many to name, but a list of events. And then we'll wrap up today at Tembler at 5:30 to watch the leaderboards, much like the old telethons of yesteryear. Yeah.
Would you give the website one more time?
givebigkern.org.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you're doing. Here, let's take a photograph together. Is that all right?
I almost forgot. One quick thing. Lewis, who is our Director of Community Impact and really shoulders all this, provided you all with the goodie bags. So if you find it in your good spirit to wear a Give Big Kern button today, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor. The next item, item 3, proclaims May 8th, 2019 as Day of the Teacher in Kern County. It will be presented by Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion on proclamation.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
So are you Anna Poggi? Poggi, okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. It's my honor to be here before you today. Here in Kern County, we're blessed with a wealth of great schools, colleges, and universities. We owe much of our success to the teachers who help produce our doctors, engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and educated workforce. Teachers are dedicated to helping every student reach their full potential. They make a difference in the lives of their students and work on a daily basis to provide them with knowledge, skills, resources, and opportunities that they need to succeed. And I have Anna Poggi with me today, and Anna is a retired teacher. My mother, Kathy Scribner, joined the ranks of retired teachers about 2 years ago after teaching the GAY program in Panama Buena Vista School District for over 20 years, about 25 years. And so whenever I'm out and about in the community, it's really great how many of her former students or former parents tell me what a great job she did. And so we all have teachers who have impacted our lives, special ones. We can think of probably several throughout our scholastic career that really made an impact on us. And so it's my pleasure to present this to you, Anna. The Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed May 8th, 2019 as Day of the Teacher in Kern County, and this recognition has been entered into our official minutes, signed by our Honorable Chairman, David Couch. Thank you so much for you and all the teachers that have touched so many lives in Kern County.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Come on up.
Thank you. There are 53 school districts in Kern County and at least 174,132 students in Kern County. We have elementary school districts, high school districts, and unified school districts. And that includes the largest K-8 district, which is Bakersfield City, and the largest high school district, 912, which is Kern High. There is a certificated teacher shortage in Kern County, California, and across the United States. The last number I heard was there would be for next year over 100,000 teacher shortage. And there are many reasons for this, too many to go into now. Plus, no one has really zeroed in on what the real cause is. But I'd like to share something I've read recently with you. These are some things that teachers do, just some. Teachers make kids wonder. Teachers make kids question. Teachers make kids apologize and mean it. Teachers make kids have respect and take responsibility for their actions. Teachers make kids read, read, read. Teachers make kids understand that if they use the gifts they were given, work hard and follow their hearts, they can succeed in life. Thank you so much for honoring the teachers of Kern County.
Thank you. You want to get a picture? I think they want to take a picture. Hold up this picture. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here today. I can tell you that all those things are true. My mother was a teacher for 42 years, and she did all those things to me. And my son, interesting about Kern County is it's a small place. My son was a student of Supervisor Scribner's mother. She was a great teacher. Congratulations on her retirement. That takes us to item 4. It proclaims May 2019 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Kern County. It'll be presented by Supervisor Gleason.
Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Supervisor Perez, I'm sure you voted yes on that. Thank you. The vote is all ayes.
Come on in. Oh, my heavens. Come on in. There's 2 or 3 rows, maybe 4 rows. Everybody needs to be in the picture. Come on down. Pretend you like each other. Keep coming. Keep coming. There's plenty of room right here. All around here. Just stand over here. Okay. Feel like a traffic cop. Come on. Plenty of room. Don't be bashful. Come on over here. Over here. Please. Please. Come on over here. All your smiling faces need to be somewhere so everybody can see it. There's going to be TV cameras looking at you. Come on in. Everybody's going to be a part of this. Holy mackerel. Come on. Come on. Switch in. It's not going to be good unless everybody gets in the picture. Please, come on. We got a little, come on. Can you come on? No, you. Yes, perfect. Perfect. Right here. That'd be perfect. Just you can wiggle it. Come on. Okay. I'm exhausted. Holy mackerel. What are we doing? What the heck is this? It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation from the County Board of Supervisors proclaiming May 2019 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Kern County. These minutes have been entered into board minutes, and it's signed by our chairman, Mr. Couch. Thank you very much. You know, mental health is such an important issue, and it's a growing issue. Personally, I have first-degree exposure. I'm sure many of us do, and it is a significant and growing problem that needs to be addressed quickly, efficiently, and fortunately, we have such a great team of people behind me who are willing to devote their lives and their services and the best they can bring to solving this tremendous problem. Mental illnesses are not the result of personal weakness, lack of character, or poor upbringing. 1 in 5 individuals will be affected by a mental health condition in their lifetime, and everyone is impacted through their friends and family. Most people diagnosed with a serious mental health condition can experience relief from their symptoms by getting help. But too many people with mental health conditions do not seek treatment or try to hide their illness because they fear discrimination. You can show your support by joining us in any of the events that have been planned by the May is Mental Health Awareness Committee. composed of community providers of mental health services in Kern County. And here to tell us more about that is Bill Walker, who is our Director of Mental Health Services. Bill, thank you for all you do. Thank you for bringing this team in, and here's your certificate.
Thank you. You know, I always go right off script when I first stand up because something is happening, and I think, oh, I'm going to comment to that. And later today, I'll be driving up to Sacramento, and I'll be meeting with my cohorts, the 58 county directors for behavioral health. And I brag on this county like a schoolboy bragging about his parents being tougher than your parents. And so just your comment, Supervisor, and every time I meet with one of you, the assistance you give our department and the way you bring issues you'd like us to try to address, I'm just incredibly appreciative. So thank you for this proclamation, Chairman, members of the board, for declaring May 2019 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Kern County. I like to say behavioral health because we have the mental health and substance abuse plan. This tradition started in 1949 to bring awareness about mental health and mental health issues. I'm joined by family members, friends, and very few of my own staff, but mostly our contractor staff, because in many of your areas that are your districts, you have outlying areas, and they're served primarily by our contracted service delivery system. So behind me are included members of Clinica Sierra Vista, College Community Services, Mental Health Systems. We also have contracts with First 5, Department of Human Services, ETR, Public Health Department, the Sheriff's Department, BPD, Probation, Veteran Services, Aging and Adult, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools and the Dream Center, Kern Medical Center, Bakersfield Behavioral Health Hospital, Crestwood, Telecare, Aegis and American Health for MAT and narcotics treatment programs, Garden Pathways, STEPS, Bakersfield Recovery Services, Freedom House, and some of our new contracts for homeless outreach with Flood Ministries, and I must also mention NAMI, just to name a few. Last year, this network of services touched over 32,000 people in service. And for May is Mental Health Month, we've given you 2 brochures. One of them is in English, and the other one is in Spanish, because all of you we are required to put everything we put out in Spanish as well as English. So I wanted you to have a copy of the Spanish version. And although there's many things in the book, it nicely opens up to the center for some of our events. And I just want to bring about 4 or 5 events to your awareness. In the first column, we have our art show that will go on all month long at the Guild House in downtown that Child Guidance runs. And if you have an opportunity to go there, it's just really fantastic, the artwork that our clients put together. At the bottom of that, you'll see the NAMI fundraiser at the Pizza Press. And NAMI is the national alliance that helps us address mental illness across the entire country. In the middle column, we have In This Together on May 16th, which is our Ribbons for Awareness, where we come together and we put the green ribbons together in solidarity for mental health support. And at the bottom, you'll see NAMI's in our own voice. This is really pretty spectacular because they have people tell their actual stories. It's funny, I can quote statistics, and then I'll forget the statistics. I don't forget someone's story. When they tell you a story, it'll stick with you sometimes for years. At the top of the third column, you have the Bridging the Gap with MET. A lot of people are asking, what are some of the things that are going on? And you hear like Breakfast with a Cop, where you can go and actually ask questions. They're setting it up so people can the public can talk to our MET units and talk to them about, what do you do? How do they call you out? How do you make a decision? Where do you take people? So the public can be more aware of the uses of MET, which we think, by the way, most people don't know, our MET unit, BPD and KCSO, have a homeless outreach program that they have run kind of undercover, no pun intended, for years, where they do to go in encampments and help sweep, but not just sweep them out, but sweep them in to try to get them into service. And the last thing I would bring up on May 29th is our Academy Awards, which is an honoring where we actually have categories and give people trophies, the Academy trophies, for things they've done, whether it's clients, youth, agencies, and generally we have a member, usually the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, they're helping me MC that, which is just a spectacular event. I just really am appreciative of the opportunity that I have to lead this group. And my last comment was the last person who spoke about teaching. I spent 25 years teaching night class at CSUB in the Extended Studies program for substance abuse counselors. I actually think I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today if it wasn't for all I learned from people in that program as I taught, because no one learns more than the teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Good job. I shake all your hands, boys. Is that lens big enough?
This may be the most people in a picture we've ever had here.
Outstanding work, folks. Thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you all for being here today.
Good job, Billy.
Next item is item 5. It proclaims May 13th through the 17th, 2019 as Peace Officer Memorial Week in Kern County. And we're also requesting permission to fly flags at half-staff during Peace Officer Memorial Week. Supervisor Perez will make this proclamation. She'll make the presentation, and this motion will also authorize permission to fly flags at the Kern County Administrative Building, the Sheriff's Headquarters facility on Norris Road, and all other Sheriff's Office facilities at half-staff during the period of observance. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. Motion on proclamation with the inclusion of the direction on our flags.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Good morning, Chairman Couch and colleagues. I am deeply honored to make this presentation this morning as we proclaim as a county May 13th through the 17th, 2019 as Peace Officer Memorial Week in Kern County. For over 50 years, National Peace Officer Memorial Day has been recognized on May 15th, and the week in which May 15 falls is a time to pay special recognition and to give honor to our brothers and sisters in law enforcement who have given their lives in the line of duty. During this week, we join the families, friends, and colleagues of our fallen peace officers to honor and remember the sacrifices they have made and that their families and friends continue to make in their absence. Our peace officers put their lives on the line to protect our homes, our streets, keep our neighborhoods safe for our families and loved ones. When a peace officer is killed, we know that it is not just a county that loses a deputy or a city that loses an officer, but it is often a spouse losing their partner, parents losing their children or child, and a child, of course, losing their parent. And our entire country mourns with them. We reserve this week to recognize the Herculean efforts of America's law enforcement officers. This week provides each of us with a unique opportunity to take a few moments out of our day to thank and honor our peace officers who have lost their lives while serving and protecting our communities. During the commemorative week, flags will be flown at half-staff, the County Administration Center, Sheriff's Headquarters, and all Sheriff's facilities in honor of these fallen officers. Thank you for this opportunity. It is a privilege to make this presentation, and of course, we have an opportunity to hear from those being honored today. You have the floor.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Under Sheriff Brian Wheeler for Sheriff Donnie Youngblood, who really wishes he could have been here today. Good morning, Chairman Couch and members of the board. On behalf of Sheriff Youngblood, the Kern County Sheriff's Office, and the entire Kern County law enforcement family, I'd like to take a few minutes to say thank you for taking this time to honor those officers who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and given their lives in the line of duty. As you know, National Police Week and Law Enforcement Memorial Day is a time we set aside to remember and honor all law enforcement personnel and their families who have sacrificed so much in the service and protection of the communities they serve. It's important for us as a law enforcement family to take time and remember those friends and loved ones we worked with and their contributions to our community. It's also imperative for us to honor these officers and keep their legacies alive for both our agencies and their families, so they know their loss was not in vain. Many of us worked with officers whose names are on our memorial at Norris Road, In fact, I knew 4 of the deputies on our memorial, and they were killed during my 30-year career with the Sheriff's Office. The same applies to Chief Davis with me, and Chief Nord was also very close with one of the officers that we've lost. So it hits us all right where it really hurts. I'd like to take a minute to highlight a few unfortunate but notable statistics that should be concerning for all of us. There are 59 names on our county peace officer memorial, which is down in front of the courthouse. 31 of those names are Sheriff's Office personnel, and they're also on our personal memorial at Norris Road. On the National Memorial in Washington, D.C., there are 21,910 names of officers who have given their lives in the line of duty. In the last 10 years, there's been an average of 1 death of a police officer every 55 hours. The last year that fewer than 100 officers were killed in the line of duty was 1909, 110 years ago. In 2018, 144 officers were killed in the line of duty, which is up from 129 in 2017. And the most alarming fact to point out is of those officers killed in 2018, 52 were shot to death. That's more than law enforcement officers who died in traffic accidents last year, which is a total flip. Usually officers die in traffic accidents at a larger rate than attacked or ambushed. So it's really concerning. So again, I'd just like to thank you for this time and ask that you please join us at our memorial services. The Sheriff's Office Memorial will be held Thursday, May 16th at 10 a.m. at our headquarters facility, which will be followed by the countywide memorial, which is downtown at noon on the same day. And this year, the Sheriff's Office is hosting that event. So please, all the public and the media are invited to join us as we honor those officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our community and all the members of Kern County. Thank you.
And the Sheriff, what were the dates again, please?
Thursday, May 16th at 10 a.m. at Sheriff's Headquarters, and then also at noon downtown in front of the courthouse at 1415 Truxton.
Let's get a picture for the county records. I'm gonna get this. It's a somber one, you know. It's a little bit different energy, as you know. Come on over. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Do you want your?
Thank you for being here and for reminding us. Next item is item 7. It's public requests, and this is a request from John Wooner, City Manager, City of McFarland, to address the board regarding the strategic growth and economic development plan for the City of McFarland. Morning, John.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. Hold on just a second. So today I'd like to present to the board our strategic growth and development plan. We'd like to be able to explain to the county and to all other citizens involved the plan that the city has been working on for many years. This is not just an idea we came up with. We've been working on it since I started there about 8 years ago. So we'll start with, got this wrong way. We'll start with our mission. A few years back, the city really didn't have any direction, so we worked on putting our mission together. So just really quickly, I'll read it. It's to advance the model professionalism that ensures the delivery of high-quality products, services, continuously improves efficiency, and removes barrier for future growth. So within that, we have combined our economic growth with a strategy that incorporates paying for services in the future. It's clear, I think we've said it before, but we have to grow in order to pay for the increasing cost of services in every area. So here you'll see the items that we'll be talking about in general. If I was to go into detail, this would be probably a 100-page PowerPoint, but this is a relatively short summary of what we're doing. So the first thing is that we do know that an ability to increase in order to increase the capacity, the city's growth, to increase growth in the city, we have to increase the capacity of our utilities. So wastewater and water have to be, those capacities have to be able to serve that growth area. We have to develop fees for essential services, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. Develop roads, overpasses, interchanges as the city grows so that citizens and business can have easy movement around the city. Beautification of the city has become apparently very important. We do streetscaping, landscaping. This does help improve walkability and the quality of life. Assist current businesses. So as we grow, a lot of people need to understand that we have businesses that are already in our city, and we like to make sure that they profit and that they grow along with the city's economic development plan. So what we've done is we have programs that will allow us to help cities with their planning, or cities help businesses with their planning and their improvement of their facades, and we'll have examples of that further into the presentation. Just recently, we received from the county the sphere of influence letter, so we have to expand our sphere of influence. We're literally out of land to develop. We've had a couple annexations, but most of that is scheduled for residential growth. So we need to be able to have something to do, some space to grow. We also need to, along with that, annex our property. They're different. Sphere of influence and annexations are quite different. So we're looking to increase our annexation of the city for about 2,000 acres. And so in the next 5 to 7 years, we're looking to double the size of McFarland. We aggressively market the city for new businesses, and we'll touch on that a little bit. And then just a very brief what's next. As I was reviewing that, there were so many more items I could have put on there, but we just put a few. So let's talk about wastewater expansion. It's important for us to expand the wastewater plant to accommodate the future growth, but we're not just talking about it, we're doing it. We have a state revolving fund, $6 million grant and $6 million loan from the state revolving fund. And then we look forward to construction to start in the next couple of months. Again, this is summary, so we'll be moving through it pretty quickly. Well expansions, the city already has 3 water wells and 1 water tank. The city will be constructing 1 additional well and a tank. The city just completed a $3 million arsenic plant, which was funded by the state. And then we look for most of our funding to come from the state Water Resource Board. So we talked about including fees. What we've done in the city already is we have passed 2 resolutions, one for a CFD for police services and one for a CFD for fire services. So any new development in the future will help pay for their fair share or the impact that they placed on those services. Accessibility is very important. This is this is kind of our annexation plan, and so our city is looking at overpasses on 99, one over Taylor and one over a street called Neal. In addition, we're already working or pretty far along on an interchange between Sherwood and Whistler. That's on Hanawalt. By the way, Caltrans has approved that. The project study report, the project development report was completed, and like I said, Caltrans has approved it. The interchange, of course, is needed. The overpasses are needed because we need to be able to allow future businesses and other cities, other citizens to move around about the city as conveniently as possible. The next step, we are at the environmental phase. The study is estimated to cost around $3 million. We're tentatively told at this point that Kern COG is funding about 1.5 million of it. And so we really need to only come up with, and I say only, but we currently need to come up with about 1.5 million from another source. So we're looking at that now. I think I'm switching pages here. So let's talk about beautification of the city. It is the thought of our council and the thought of our staff that beautification of the city is necessary to make it healthy, walkable, safer, and appealing to businesses and residents. We do various grant fundings that handle our streetscaping. I guess it's debatable if streetscaping is a word, but I'm going to invent it today. What we do is we put in benches, trash receptacles, sidewalks, custom light poles, stamped concrete, and we resurface the road. Additionally, we do undergrounding. So we also require new businesses to underground the poles, the utilities that are there. It actually makes for a much cleaner and visual improvement. The city doesn't just stop there. It works with other agencies and various grants to put in new parks. Currently, the city actually owns more parks than the Park and Rec District. We've put in a 12-acre park, and now we're putting in another 5-acre park, probably get started in the next couple of months. The pedestrian bridge, we worked hard with Caltrans on that, and we have the runners going across. I thought it was a really nice aesthetic, and it does, when you pass it, you do notice you're going through McFarland. Other green areas, we have gazebos, water tanks, and drive-through ATM. And so here's just a couple of pictures of what we're talking about. That's the walking bridge. We didn't get much of the runners, but you can see one on there. Streetscaping, the lights, the benches, people sitting. In fact, that's one of our council members sitting there. So let's talk about longevity planning and facade improvement. The city works very closely with other agencies such as Fresno State, the USDA. You could read the rest of them there. What we do is we have workshops. We ask our business owners to come in. We do business planning and development, capital access, e-commerce, technology, marketing strategy, licensing and permits, things that will help improve and give them some longevity with the very competitive market that's going on. Our philosophy in McFarland, along with the council, is that growth in the county, anywhere in the county, is good for everybody. So we want to see growth everywhere. The city also helps with facade programs and how they present their business up front to appeal to customers. And then we work with various agencies and different granting associations that will allow us to help them get the equipment they need for their business. And it's a grant, so they can get it for free, kind of gives them a step up, and also can allow them to improve the equipment and that they use today. So I just have about 5 slides here of the difference between the facade program, what it used to look like on the top, and on the bottom, what it looks like today. You can see there's a vast improvement with this program. We use, take off the bars, we put those type of glass that you can't break, and so they have as much safety as they did with the bars. But you can see the big change. So we talked about sphere of influence a while ago. These were all the steps that the city had to take in order to get the sphere of influence to where it is today. We couldn't have really done that without hiring one of the best in the county to help us, and since he dressed up today, I think I'll go ahead and throw his name out. But that's Mr. Ron Brummett. He's not only one of the best, but he's a good friend, and he's really helped McFarland in the future.
He's in the dark. I didn't even notice him. Morning.
So let's talk about that. Right now, the Sphere of Influence is anticipated to be at LAFCO this month, and this is a huge accomplishment for the city. We thank the county for all their help in helping us get there. Essentially, the Sphere of Influence will go all the way just a little bit past 46, and it'll go down the highway, Highway 99, and essentially it's pretty much all the land is out of the I forgot what the name of the act is, where the Homestead Act or whatever. Williamson Act, thank you very much. And so it's easily developed, and it helps McFarland grow. So let's talk about the annexations. We thank the board for approving the last 3 annexations. They are, we'll look at those in just a minute, but it was very pleasing for us to see that there is an interest, and we have many people wanting to annex more now, so we'll be bringing in the future more of that. But the city of McFarland, we do have a strategic plan to increase annexed lands and also increase city revenues. It's approximately 1,000 acres on the west side of the freeway and approximately 1,000 acres on the east side of the freeway. The general plan has been updated to include this area and has been zoned already. So this is a picture of it. Then again, we thank the supervisors for our recent annexations. This is off of Garzoli. This would be the west end of the city. Surprisingly, this is an area that looks like eventually all will be annexed. Just that little white area is left. And so we appreciate that. And those are all the dates and times that you approved that. So let's talk about a little bit about the marketing. Again, we're being very general here at the general basis. I don't want to bog everybody down with details, but the city did contract with Buxton. Buxton has helped us market the city by telling us what our population, our demographics, our freeway counts, all that stuff would allow the city to go after and bring in. And we've been very successful with them. We're ending our contract with them this year. We've been with them for 3 years, but the city thinks that we're ready to do it on our own now. We are a member, and I do sit on the board of the Kern EDC, and they have been instrumental in bringing in businesses. We're dealing with one now. It's called, if you tell anybody who this is, we'll break your legs, so I can't tell you right now. They always keep it hush-hush. But they've been very helpful. The city is also a member of the ICSC. We have been to all their conferences, but the one that used to be in San Diego, which is now in LA, seems to be a little more manageable. It's not as large as, if you've ever been to the one in Las Vegas, you better at least take a couple months to exercise to do that one. It's the largest thing I've ever seen, and it's very, 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 very busy. So in LA, we have a booth. We have a relatively large booth, and we market our city, and we probably talk to, I would say, over the 3-day process, over 100 people. And it doesn't only market, we don't only use it for us. Kern EDC comes in and works with us on that. I've just talked to a couple other people that might share the booth with us too. So again, we're not opposed to development anywhere. We think all development is helpful for this county. We do aggressively contact specific vendors at least twice a year, sometimes more. But at the very least, twice a year, I just had a call from one of those retailers. They're actually going to be coming into McFarland. Again, not allowed to tell you who that is yet until they announce. And then we have, I think I've given you some marketing brochures. Oh, they'll be there. So I didn't have enough marketing brochures. I couldn't find, they're probably given out already, but I do also have our movie map, which is with the Board of Trade, and we appreciate the fact that it's there. People come and visit our city. Believe it or not, every week we have people from all over the United States and the world. It's kind of interesting. So I wanted to show you a few of the businesses that we brought in. We're very proud of. Here's the left side, the top left, is actually one that Kern EDC helped us bring in, which is Rite Aid. So that's a good example of Kern EDC helping us. We have Dollar General that came in, AutoZone, Dollar General. We have the ATM I spoke about. We have a bank that has a drive-up ATM with us. Taco Bell is there. Little Caesars are there. There's more, but we couldn't fit it all in one slide. So what's new on the horizon? Basically, the city has a contract with Countrywide Construction. They're going to be building a convenience store and gas station in our city. The city is in final negotiations with a $130 million heavy industrial client. The city is also in talks with comprehensive medical facilities that want to come into the city. We're just trying to help them find the right land. And we do have a client, like I said, with Kern EDC, and another client, which is a national retailer that we're working with to come into the city also. Grants, we have a lot more than this as I was reviewing it, but this is just gives you an idea. We have one of the, I think, the best grant writing departments, and the leader of that is Maria Lara, and she's here today, but she has done outstanding. We're probably somewhere around $20 to $30 million in grants now with what her department has been doing, and that's how the cities have been getting stuff done. So we have been awarded a CMAQ grant through the Kern EDC for electric charging station. We have another $200,000. So combined with that, we're going to be building a transit station at the same time. The city also received a $1.8 million grant, and we'll be developing a very high-end community garden. I wish I brought a picture of it. I think you'd be very impressed. It's not just row crops and stuff like that. It's very, very ornate, very nice, but yet very functional. And then we should be seeing our new animal shelter, which was through the USDA to come through, start construction in, either today or next week sometime. And do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Winter. You've got a lot going on. Let me open it up for anyone who is here that would like to make a comment on this presentation, and I'll return it to the board. I don't see any public comments, so I'll bring it back. I just want to thank you for being here today. Number one, thank you for bringing Mr. Brumman and Ms. Lara. I know they're doing an excellent job for you, and you're doing an excellent job as well. Staff, do you guys have any comments on the presentation? Not you guys, Ms. Lawson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we appreciate the city of McFarland being here today and letting us know what's going on in their community. Just to add some clarification, he is correct. There is a big difference between the SOI process and the annexations. One of the things that they mentioned in their presentation is they have their resolution for a CFD, which is a good step forward. Typically, formally, these are considered after an area has been annexed and they're looking to do development and it's imminent. We have, as he's indicated, accepted and reviewed their SOI proposal and for expansion, and that's moving forward as well. Where the challenge begins is We have been concerned and continue to be concerned about their ability to pay for fire services specifically over the past 2 years for their current population. It's something that they're working on with us. We do have a negotiated agreement that ends June 30th, and we'll be working with them to try to find a resolve going forward. The challenge will be for after the SOI is approved by LAFCO, that they'll be requesting of your board to approve annexations for various areas that will then be incorporated. And at that point, we start the negotiation. Actually, we're working on that now, but your board will have to approve some tax revenue sharing agreements that has to take into consideration their ability to pay for fire services of which they choose to contract with us to provide. So it's just one of those things that we are working with them on, and we look forward to doing that and being successful in it, but it is something that will be coming before your board in the future.
And I think I noticed an email exchange between staff and you.
Yeah,
Are you guys able to meet today?
We actually have a meeting today,
Okay.
and we've actually developed I'll be dropping it off also, a contract for fire. And we'll see if staff, I've already handed it to the chief. It'll be at our council Thursday night for their approval. So it's not approved yet by them, but I'm pretty sure they would.
I don't see any lights on from any of the other supervisors. Anybody have any questions or comments? Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for working with us. We will continue to do that with you.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Good to see you, Ron.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Ron, also. That was, let's see, item 7. That takes us to, actually, let me, I'd like to use exercise the board's prerogative. I'd like to, there are some folks here from Pine Mountain Club that I would like to accommodate if we could. So we'd like to hear item 32 before we move on. Item 32 is an item it requests to accept an in-kind donation from the Pine Mountain Scrappers Quilt Guild for handmade quilts and tote bags for the A. Miriam Jamison Children's Center. And the value is around $12,000. I think Cindy Utes from Department of Human Services is, hello, Cindy. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Couch and members of the board. And I have behind me some great women here from the, I'm going to look at it, Pine Mountain Scrappers Quilt Guild, joining me today and showing you some beautiful quilts that they all have made. I have one here in my hand as well, that they have made for the children at the Jamison Children's Center. And it's my pleasure to be here today, and our guests behind me, Lorena Lewis, Shireen Walker, Gail Royal, Carol Wiersma, and also Ginny Dune. And also we have Joy Johnson, Program Director from our Jamison Children's Center, who is here in the audience with us as well to share in this recognition. As you know, the Jamison Children's Center is a 24-hour facility where we receive and care for children who cannot remain safely at their home. It's through the generosity of these women behind me, such as the Pine Mountain Scrappers Quilt Guild, that we are able to extend this warmth and generous donation with our children at the Jamison Center. These women have made approximately 100 quilts that they've donated to the children there, and they've been supporting the Jamison Children's Center for about 20 years, so it's remarkable what they do. They're very excited today. After this, they're going to go do some shopping and get some more materials, have a little lunch in town, breakfast, or maybe lunch, and start again for the next year. So I would really thank you for giving us this moment to recognize this group for their numerous contributions. And I would like to introduce Lorena to you, who will say a few words.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I appreciate you acknowledging us this morning. We are so proud to be able to do this for the kids. And if I may, I'd like to tell a little story. We got a letter from this lady who ran into hard times maybe 20 years ago or so, and her child ended up in the Jameson Center, and he ended up with a quilt of ours. And so now he's having a child of his own, and they're passing the quilt down to him. So they've kept this quilt all this time as part of their, their lives. So it was just heartwarming to us. We all had tears in our eyes when we read the letter. It was just so heartwarming. So it is our pleasure to do this for you and for the Jameson Center and for all the kids in Kern County. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies, hang on one second. Supervisor Scribner.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, 20 years, that's amazing that you've been doing this for that long for those kids. I know that each of those quilts are made with a lot of hard work, but also a lot of love, and I know that those children are just beaming when they get those quilts as gifts. This is the first time that I've been able to have you all down here since the 2nd District now includes PMC, and so it's really an honor and a privilege to make the motion to approve the acceptance of the donation, also to authorize our chairman to sign. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll second the motion. I just want to tell you, ladies, that the quilts are beautiful. One of my most prized possessions that I inherited from my grandmother, who had virtually nothing in this world, it still is, the blankets that she made for me. And I will give them to my sons, and will earmark a little lap blanket that I just discovered when my mom recently passed away. I didn't know existed, but a lap blanket I'll give to my grandson. And these are reminiscent of the same kind that my grandmother made out of flour bags that are just so soft and comforting. And I hope that you bless many, many children with the gift that you're giving them. So thank you for what you're doing.
Please cast your votes, and as we do, I just want to thank you ladies for coming today. And due to reapportionment, Supervisor Scribner's gain is my loss. I misrepresented you all. Thank you.
Yeah, can I just want to say.
Supervisor Perez, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there.
See, I wish you guys were in my district, frankly. But I really love every time that you come here. You remind me of like the Care Bears, right? With this sort of goodness emanates from you. And you can feel it and see it. It's almost like a presence around you. And I mean that. And I've seen it every time that you come. And I just think, God, what a wonderful world if all of us were devoting a significant part of our lives to just helping other people, right? It takes the emphasis off of our own personal obsessions and realize just how good we really have it, most of us, right? Despite life's incredible challenges. But really, you guys are always a bright spot. You remind me that there are really good people out there outside of my district, and I need to get to know them better. So anyhow, thank you for being here and for sharing your goodness and for showing it to the world because it matters and it impacts people's lives clearly, well beyond, as your letter indicated, that we will ever really know. So thank God for that. So really, hats off to you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That takes us to public presentations. I know there are some folks here today from the Keene area, and I think this is the portion of the meeting that you all are here for. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on the agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. We may not respond directly. You may not get an answer to your questions perfectly, but we will do our best. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public presentation? Although we ask that you observe our 2-minute time period, and please state your full name for us. Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Fawn Dessy, FawnDessy. I'm a resident of Hart Flat, a mountainous community to the west of Keene. We're abutted by Highway 58 to the north, Highway 223 on the west, Bear Valley Springs right over the ridge to the southeast, Caliente a few miles to the northwest. Our area is fairly steep. We have a lot of vegetation, which is dense and dry at this point. Winds are erratic. Fires started by vehicles along Highway 58 and 223 are common. as are fires from the trains running on the railroad tracks. Funding to the fire department has been cut so that staffing of our Station 11 has been greatly reduced to one helicopter or a ground crew, but not both. There's only one paramedic, and paramedic is assigned to the helicopter only. The proximity and adequacy of staffing of Station 11 has been credited with saving our area from devastation in the past. Effective firefighting takes both ground and air resources in this terrain. And it also takes immediate action as fire doubles every 5 minutes. We've been told Station 11 will be backfilled by other stations, but in a best-case scenario, it will take 20 to 30 minutes for them to respond. Also, we are aware that over the last few weeks, the station was actually closed for 20 hours, daytime hours, between April 25th and May 1st with no coverage at all. This is irresponsible. It is a risk to our firefighters and also a risk to Hart Flat, Keene, Caliente, and Bear Valley Springs, which is right over the ridge. And we would just urge the Board of Supervisors to resolve this serious deficiency in fire coverage to an area that requires it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
May I ask,
Mr.
are there any
Supervisor.
other, if I may, excuse me,
Certainly.
are there any other folks from Hart Flat or Keene that want to speak on this item? If we could do this one first, if I may
Sure.
ask for the
I
chairman's
was
indulgence. Thank
I was
you.
headed that way. Yeah, on this subject, if you're here on the, I guess, Station 11, the Keene area. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Marks, M-A-R-C-K-S. I live in Hart Flat, and let me start by saying we know that you are all thoughtful people. You have to balance a lot of competing interests for the dollars, the scarce dollars that can be allocated to services. But we are asking that you preserve or increase the funding and staffing for our well-loved Station 11. We rely on Station 11's ground crews and its air support to protect our homes, our families from those fires that can and do sweep up that dry mountain area within minutes of the start, from a discarded cigarette, a dragging chain on the highway, or a lightning strike. We've seen it all. So we do appreciate your thoughtful consideration of our request that the staffing and the funding for Station 11 be not reduced, but perhaps even increased. I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marks. Who'll be next? Yes, sir.
I'm here mainly for solutions. That's what I think you guys want and we want. You don't hear a whole lot about them. But I was involved in building some water tanks up there for the helicopter, and we've seen it work. And I think this is possibly a solution for all of the United States where all the fires are. It took the helicopter about 5 minutes to put out a fire because we had the tanks right there by the fire. And they've got places up on top of Bear Mountain that are for helicopter pads. And there is water up there because I work the roads over being an equipment operator. And they have water running year-round out of springs in which you can tap into and get them down to the tanks that the helicopter could use. A helicopter doesn't have to move but 2 or 3 minutes from one tank to another. And the fire didn't stand a chance, the last one we had, because the fire trucks didn't even get there and the helicopter had it put out. I think if we got around to where we saw all the ranchers and the people and the homes and stuff like that, where they could put these tanks up, then perhaps the money could go towards more helicopters and putting these fires out than to having all the manpower that it costs. Or we're going to have another paradise. If a lightning strike or anything hits Bear Mountain, it's gone. People can't get out of, because I work over in Bear Valley on the other side, there's no way out. There's 2 roads in and out, Deer Trail and Jacaranda. If a fire hit that thing, they're dead. And I'm thinking if they had these water stations over there, cleared an area, because there are areas over there that can be cleared real easy, put the water to them because Bear Valley's already got the water there, Get him to the tank so the helicopter can get to it and he doesn't have to move but 5 minutes from one to another. Set them maybe 2 or 3 miles apart. And it's not too hard, and the water's already there. And that would be what I would suggest that you guys as supervisors might take in consideration, because to me, that's an ounce of prevention. There's an old saying when I was growing up, don't get the nickel so close to your eye you don't see the dollars behind it. We don't want another Paradise. Thank you.
Sir, can you give us your name, please? I'm sorry.
Dave Austin.
Thank you. Sorry, Supervisor Scrivener, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No. My apologies.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Susan Pellerin, and I live in Hart Flat as well. I just became aware that our station was being cut, the funded was being cut. So from what I'm understanding is we either have our one engine that we're able to use or our helicopter, but not both. When I moved up there in 2004, one of the reasons I chose that area is because I know that we had a fire department and the helicopter that would be able to protect our area and myself and my grandchildren when they come to visit. So that's not the case at this time. So besides, it's actually something that I'm kind of worried about bringing my grandkids out there right now because it is a high fire area. I do my best to make sure that we abate as much as possible, cut the grass, cut the limbs and everything. But as a gentleman said, if there's a fire that comes off the freeway, which it does every single year, there's not much that I'm going to be able to do if we don't have a helicopter that can drop water or one of the fire engines that can come and help put it out. I was there several years ago where there was a fire that came all the way up to my ridge, and we were packed and ready to go, and we had the engine at the bottom of my driveway, and they came over and dropped the water and stopped it right there. So, I know that both of those entities need to be up there to fight the fires and make us feel safe. I pay my taxes, I vote. And I want to make sure that, I'm covered. I get the same respect and coverage from who I vote for and where my tax dollars go than you do. So I guess I'm requesting that our station stay fully manned. And I don't know if I can ask a question of why it's not, if that's something that I know that you don't always answer, but I am going to educate myself on why this has happened. And I'm going to organize myself and some other people up there to try to make sure we get fully funded again, whatever it takes. So
We're gonna ask for a response to that.
Thank you.
When you all are concluded. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
We'll be next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, my name is Sharon Hicks, SharonHicks. I am a resident of Hart Flat. I am here to voice my concerns regarding the current cuts to funding for Keene Fire Station 11. I believe the cuts to funding will negatively impact the lives of thousands of people in the Caliente, Hart Flat, Keene, and Bear Valley Springs areas. The decision to cut funding has resulted in the diversion of funds which are legally earmarked to keep our Fire Station 11 fully staffed. The end result is that we no longer can depend on continuous 24-hour protection by Station 11. The cuts will create a threat to public safety. I am hopeful Mr. Scrivener is working to resolve these issues now that he understands the residents of the area have many concerns. My two main concerns related to public safety are, firstly, there will be slower response times to fires in our areas, which could lead to small fires morphing into out-of-control fires in a matter of minutes. Secondly, since we no longer have a paramedic assigned to an engine, a person living or traveling through our community who needs emergency services will unlikely be able to receive them in a meaningful time frame. The decision to cut staff at Station 11 will result in many negative consequences, including the loss of many homes by fire, fire insurance premium hikes and cancellation of those policies, the destruction of valuable farmland and valuable wildlife, the destruction of Cesar Chavez National Monument, the destruction of the railroad system, and most importantly, the loss of many lives. I am respectfully pleading to the Board of Supervisors to reestablish full funding to Station 11, which will resolve potential legal consequences which have been created because of the inappropriate and possibly illegal diversion of funds from Station 11. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
I'm Linda Fleming, Fleming. I reside in Keene. And I just wanted to remind you people of your vision statements and mission statements. Quote, to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve, end quote. Your mission statement, quote, to enhance the quality of life in Kern County by providing, protecting, and serving our citizens, end quote. I have one question. Do your mission statements and vision statements apply to small communities and poor people? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Hang on one second.
are there any other folks that are here to speak on this issue? Thank you. And then after that, I'm going to ask the chief to come up, so just so you know. Thank you.
Hang on one moment, please. Is there anyone after you that would like to speak on this particular subject? Yes, ma'am. Okay, one more. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rochelle Keitlinger. It's Kightlinger. I'm a resident of the Hart Creek Estates in Hart Flat. I'm going to touch on some issues that I think that need to be brought to light also. I moved there in 2017 because unfortunately I got valley fever living in the valley of Kern County. So when I chose to move to Keene, I chose the area specifically because of the fire station. Hart Flat and all of the Hart Flat area, we have only one entrance and exit from the freeway. And if you know anything about the fires that have started, that continually start, and the problems that we have on Highway 58, that's where likely a fire is going to start. In fact, the summer that I moved there, there was a fire, and the fire Station 11 was right there off the freeway on the Hart Flat exit. We have several hundred parcels, thousands of residents on that mountain below Bear Valley. And if a fire comes up that area, we're not going to be able to get out. So at this point, with the ground crew, we either have, from my understanding, we either have a choice of a fire truck or the helicopter. The helicopter also serves the whole Kern County. I saw it leave multiple times this weekend. So if that helicopter is gone, then our station no longer has a ground crew and a truck service, which means that we have to be backfilled from another station, either Edison or Tehachapi. Well, in the height of fire season, what is the likelihood? Just over the past weekend, we had multiple fires break out. So you ask the 5-minute distance versus 30 minutes to 45 minutes, hopefully, for an engine to respond. My main concern is being able to get out. In addition to that, most of my neighbors have gotten non-renewal notices because of the unprecedented fires that California has gotten. Our SR area has been upgraded to nearly double the fire hazard area, and now and every questionnaire for every homeowner's policy is about the staffing and the funding of your local fire station and local hydrants. And with that being reduced, I fear that we're not even going to be able to get insurance and have to be forced to take a state fire policy, which most of us won't be able to afford. So I respectfully ask the board to reconsider the funding of Station 11. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keitlinger.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Victoria Plendl, Plendl. I'm a resident of Hart Flat too, and along with my neighbors, I'm very concerned about the closures to our fire station. Families in rural areas like Hart Flat are all hardworking, self-reliant, do-it-yourselfers, but sometimes things happen and things get out of control very quickly, especially in the case of fire or medical emergency, and that's when we rely on our first responders. Every time that fire station is closed, it's jeopardizing the livelihood of hundreds, if not thousands, of our neighbors, the businesses in Keene, the people traveling up and down the highway, the railroad, Bear Valley Springs is right over the mountain. Mr. Scrivener, when you visit Hart Flat in a couple of weeks, I hope you'll come out early enough to take a look around Hart Flat and put yourself in our shoes and think about the resources you'd need if you had a real emergency while you're out there. I implore you to set your politics aside and make necessary changes to provide our community the protection and services that we deserve and pay for before we have a major disaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Plendel. Any other speakers on this topic? Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, first of all, this has nothing to do with politics. I appreciate everyone being here today. The fire department is facing an $8.8 million structural deficit, which basically means the difference between the revenue that's coming into the fire department's fire fund and what the fire department is spending. We've been backfilling that budget deficit through our general fund through reserves. The board has tasked the chief with finding efficiencies in the way in which he operates to see if we are able to still provide an excellent level of service to our communities while still finding ways to close that structural deficit. And so I'm going to ask our chief, interim chief, David Witt, if he could come up to the podium here. There is a community meeting that the chief and I are holding in Hart Flat. A lot of you know the barn, that's what it's called, but it's a nice facility where a lot of community meetings take place. That's going to be on May 23rd at 6 p.m. because I want to have the chief there, give him an opportunity to explain to the public what it is that he has proposed to do in regards to that station. But we'll go ahead and have a short explanation right now and then look forward to a larger meeting with the folks who live in the Hart Flat and King area so we can explain. Chief Witt, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and board. First, I'd like to thank you for not closing stations and not reducing staffing on the engines from 3 people to 2 people, and so we appreciate that and thank you. 2 questions. One is why are we doing this, and Supervisor Scrivener alluded to that, and then also what are we doing, and so the why. The why is we have a fiscal structural deficit. We have a major financial emergency. We haven't been able to order fire equipment or address building stations in 10 years. And so we need to make our department healthy again and be able to further what we need to do in that arena. And so that is why. The what are we doing? We've made the last few months, we've addressed we're continually addressing this fiscal emergency, and we take it very serious, and my men take it very serious. And so administratively, what have we done? That's the first area that we look at is administratively. My battalion chief in arson is open. My battalion chief in wildland is open. 2 admin coordinators, 1 deputy chief, 1 maintenance worker, 1 mechanic, 1 auto service worker, 1 public education officer. And we're reorganizing prevention. We've got a full-scale effort in addressing this issue so we can move on. So in addition to that, that's administratively. One would look at services and supplies, and we have cut it down to the bare bones minimum. We're going to be effective, we're going to be efficient, but services and supplies are at the minimum. And so the next item is the staffing at Keene, Hart Flat. And so we made a staffing adjustment to the helicopter, and with that, we are asking our people to cross-staff. And so what does that mean? That means that they could take the helicopter, they could take the engine, they could take the patrol locally within the Hart Flat Keene area, because we have 2 seasonals as well that are going to be there with the 3 guys and a pilot. We will be able to respond to patrol and the helicopter within the community of Keene. We have the concept of cross-staffing is not new to the fire department. We cross-staff the air van, we cross-staff the USAR, we cross-staff our hazmat unit, meaning they could take both pieces of equipment and choose. And so this concept itself is not new. We're going to take some proactive steps, though, to help and make sure that the community of Hart Flat and Keene is taken care of. And what are some of those activities that we're going to do? We plan on starting burn preparation for Highway 223, burning down across from the National Cemetery and around in that area. My hand crew is along Highway 58, and they've been actively cutting a fuel break along Highway 58. See, it's all about risk avoidance, risk prevention, and we're going to do everything we can. In addition to that, we've moved the water tender because at Hart Flat, they were cross-staffing. They were cross-staffing the water tender as well previous to this adjustment. Now, the water tender is going to go to Station 13, and Station 13 will have the water tender. So it'll be one last piece of equipment that the guys at Keene will have. I'm going to move part of a hand crew down during certain parts of the day to the Hart Flat area. They're going to be working in that area for added coverage. Engine and Patrol 11 will be a priority release, meaning that if they go to Tehachapi or Roseman, Bear Valley, Stallion Springs, that they will be one of the first engines released from this assignment. In the past, they weren't. We manage risk based on time of year, where we're at, the populations of different areas, numbers of calls. You know, you take a place like Roseman with 2,000 calls, and you take Keene with 350 calls. And so we are actively managing risk, and we do so every day with these cuts. You know, I have full confidence in my men, smart, hardworking people that are going to be able to accomplish this mission. And at the end of the day, we will save $2.2 million with the adjustments that I have made, not including Lean Six Sigma, which will be additional. I'm open to comments now.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate those comments. One of the things that folks are always concerned about when they live in rural areas, beyond just the fire protection, is the fire insurance issue, and whether or not they're going to be able to get insurance, what the rates will be. And so is this going to impact in any way the fire insurance rates?
The station is staffed with 3 people. There is a fire station there. If you're within 5 miles and you have a water source, your insurance should not be affected with that in mind, within 5 miles and a water source. And we actively do our hazard reduction. If something's changed this year, then I will most assuredly investigate that.
Thanks. One of the statements that was made was that this is an illegal diversion of funds. I don't know if that's a CAO question or a fire chief question, but I'd like someone to address that.
I'm not exactly sure that particular question, but on May 23rd, we'll have the open house that you alluded to, and I'm thinking that this is in regards to SRA funds. We're paid for 6 months out of the year to staff a station. We are staffing that station. We are not paid for the helicopter through SRA unless we go to a fire immediately right then. And so I know CAL FIRE would definitely like us to be able to operate both pieces of equipment, and we will definitely reach our mission for Station 11.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate the clarity on that. A couple things I just want to throw into the conversation is this insurance deal. The people in the Kern River Valley also have concerns of the same type. But my understanding was from the brief we got from insurance agents up there that it wasn't because of the performance of our fire department. It was because it was a statewide increase, a risk management assumed by the insurance companies. So I think there are going to be, I think you're accurate when you say about insurance rates and ability to cover your homes. I don't believe that the primary reason for that is because of any action Kern County takes. I think it's because of statewide insurance rates are going up for people that live in the interface between wildlife and rural and urban areas, and it's going to plague us all, and it's going to really impact all of Kern County. Second thing is, Chief, I appreciate what you said about the confidence you have in your men. I have that same confidence in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Tough issue. I would just encourage everyone to attend the open house that Supervisor Scrivener and the chief will be attending. And because it's not agendized today, it's a bit of a more difficult conversation to have. But that'll conclude that item. So let's move on to the next subject, I guess, for public presentations. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you, Chair. Dustin Rylick, Renovate America. I'm just here for a short update. As you recall, a couple of years ago, I'm the leading provider of property assessed clean energy in the state of California and in the United States. Actually, we're operational in 4 states now. But I wanted to give you a little update. About a year and a half ago, I came before you and gave you a short 2-minute update on legislation that was passing in 2017 and 18 for PACE legislation. That was 242 and AB 1284. In addition to that, SB 465 got passed, making fire hardening part of PACE legislature here in the state of California to be able to help with some of the fire constraints that we have in rural areas. PACE has become very regulated through those bills, through primarily AB 1284, where we actually have a lot of great things that have been put in that deal with some of the concerns that you previously had 2 years ago about ability to pay for your homeowners. We presently go through a thorough underwriting now where ability to pay is looked at, confirmed term calls are discussed, all of these different things to make sure that homeowners are fully aware of how PACE is being utilized in their home. I know it's not available here in Kern County, it's not available in Bakersfield, but I would like to just offer up that I can work with your staff to bring back and maybe have a good open conversation about making this available. There are local businesses that need this as an offer for your constituents. Some of the rates that they're offering out there now for unsecured financing are ranging, what we're hearing, from 16 to 35% interest rates is what they have to offer to someone that doesn't qualify and previously qualified for something under PACE that was between 3.99 and 8.35%. So it's a disservice to not offer it. I know there was some disputes with the real estate community. I'd be more than happy to work through that. And thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Diana Mireles, and I'm the resident of Lamont. And I'm here just first to say thank you for the efforts that you're doing to resolve the issue on the flooding. And again, I'm just advocating to or encourage you to put more monies on the budget to resolve the flooding, because we know if the flooding issue, it may more cost for you guys to reconstruction the streets, and if you allocate more money, so we can like make like less expenses on the county to fix the roads. So I'm just here to encourage you to put more money in the budget.
Did you say your name was Deanna or Diana?
Well, Diana.
Ramirez.
Mireles, Mireles.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
By the way, I don't see our Public Works Director, but we're coming to Lamont fairly soon with an update on this. They promised to come back with, Public Works Department did, with an update on the plan. So look for that.
Yeah, I know they're coming, and I think at 2 o'clock meeting in the afternoon, but unfortunately I can make it for the time. Thank you.
Thank you for coming today. Who'll be next?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I couldn't help overhearing that you had some budgetary issues, and that's why you're making some cuts. You may not call it cuts.
Can you give us your name first, please?
I apologize. My name is Abraham Labad.
Thank you.
I understand that you guys are having budgetary issues, and that's why you're cutting fire services. And one suggestion is stop doing what you're doing with cannabis and tax it. and basically tax it so that you will not have a budget problem, and you don't have to put people's lives in dangers by putting a fake helicopter in this area when there's multiple fires. That helicopter goes, and next thing you know, these people are going to be left naked, basically facing fires on their own. Your excuse that you have a budgetary constraint is really not true, when you know all you have to do is basically tax it. I apologize. Where did Ms. Perez go?
I don't know where she went.
I was hoping to make a public speech with the entire board.
You have a quorum of the board here.
Okay, so whenever I speak, Leticia Perez has to go away?
I don't know. I don't know why she left the dais.
So it wasn't because of she's being charged?
Mr. Labat, again, I don't know why she's not here, but you're burning up your 2 minutes.
That's fine. I'm going to be up here again.
Okay.
But
Well, you might not be up here again if you need 2 minutes on
each
this is it.
subject. I can talk each subject. I can talk for 2 minutes.
I don't know. Well, that might be
No?
another subject that I have to research with county council, but go right ahead.
Okay. But for the record, just so we know, silence is okay. Somebody comes up here and just can stand here for silence for take 2 minutes. We already resolved that.
I resolved it, and I resolved it, unfortunately, faster than I thought. So we could have given you an answer actually last week in the afternoon, but I don't believe you were here. Can I turn to county council and ask her to give you the
I'll reserve my 15 minutes. Go ahead.
your 15 minutes?
Yeah, I had 15 minutes before you started talking.
Did you mean 15 seconds?
I mean 15 seconds. I
Okay.
apologize.
I'll reserve it for you. How about that?
Thank you.
Madam Council.
Chairman Couch, members of the board, various courts over multiple decades have recognized different times, different types of speech, including silence as a form of speech, and it is protected under the First Amendment.
In my previous life as a city council member, I think I also learned that the Supreme Court had decided that dancing naked was a form of free speech. I hope you're not going to utilize that form.
If that's what it takes, you know me. You know me. If that's what it's going to take, I will. At this point.
We'll give you your 15 seconds. It's up to you how you want to proceed.
15 seconds is basically. I'll be back for the rest. But at this point, I just want to also ask, how could county council say that the TCF decision has nothing to do with cannabis or dispensaries? That was said multiple times in this chambers. Can we get a clarification on that? Does the TCF decision have anything to do with dispensaries? Can we get a yay or nay on that?
I will ask our council if she chooses to answer today, or if she'd like to come back at a later date, we'll let her know. Thank you very much.
But I apologize. That was something that she would answer before, that there was a little clarity now that we have a little bit more clarity.
You've asked your question. I've told you I'm going to get an answer. Thank you very much.
When would that be, sir?
I don't know. I haven't even asked her yet. Thank you very much, though.
Okay, thank you.
Who'll be next?
More people want to talk.
We just ask you to state your name and proceed. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Maria Cardenas, and I actually have a really quick question. I'm actually trying to represent myself and another person who was not able to come today. Would that be possible to give both her and my 2 minutes, or was this the 2 minutes for me?
That's a good question. I'm assuming that you have to be here to give a public statement.
Okay, I'm just going to read hers then.
Okay.
So my name is Maria Cardenas, and I'm reading on behalf of Joy Dewing. She says, Kern County Board of Supervisors, unfortunately, I am unable to address this gathering in person. My name is Joy, and I am a 70-year-old woman who suffers from neck and spine injuries, who was referred to a pain management group back in 2001 for control of extreme pain. I did not go out looking for a high. Throughout the years, I have tried numerous methods of pain relief prescribed by my doctors. I have followed the protocol for receiving my medications by being seen every 2 months for the past 18 years. At the beginning of this year, January 2019, my medication was cut in half because of the clamp down on physicians and prescribing opiates. However, the pain I suffer didn't get the message because my pain increased. So what do? The doctors can't help because their license is with the federal government, not the state. In an effort to help the addicts Congress has forgot about people like me, who unfortunately use opiates as a last result, not for a high. In fact, I never took anything other than a Midol once a month prior to turning 50. For the record, I never experimented with drugs of any kind, and I am not making this statement condemning anyone who may or may not use drugs recreationally, and I can only speak of my experience, so my comments are related only to my treatment of others who require pain relief, from pain through no fault of their own. Those who become addicts is a choice of, those who become addicts as a result of pain and not by choice. We are the silent minority, and with no voice, we are those who suffer and now are made to suffer even more because of laws put in place to deal with people abusing opiates. Taking away our medications, cannabis, as I disclosed to you, does not diminish the physical pain we will continue to suffer. My problem or pain does not go away from going off opiates. Why are we being forgotten? Why is this assembly
Cardenas?
shutting yet another one?
Could I ask you to bring your statement to a close, please? Could I politely and respectfully ask you to bring your statement to a close, please?
Okay, just to kind of represent myself, I feel like a lot of the problems that were brought to everybody so far really could be resolved with what my friend was saying, possibly making a little bit more revenue with the stuff that we were already kind of promised with cannabis issues.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Morning.
Since the beginning of civilization...
Can I ask for your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Lawrence Berry.
Say again?
Lawrence Berry.
Thank you.
Since the beginning of civilization of mankind, humans have used marijuana for both medicinal and spiritual and religious purposes. It was until 1937 in America that it was banned, made illegal for politic purposes under the auspice of public safety. In reality, it was about public manipulation and political gains for those involved at the time, unbeknownst to the public. Hemp was and is still a worldwide commodity. Hemp wrote for the shipping industry and the military-industrial complex, mainly the navies of the world, and that's just one of the many positive uses for marijuana. Now, fast forward to the current high-tech computer age we now live in. With discoveries being made, the medical marijuana industry deeming marijuana less harmful and beneficial to the general public than nicotine or alcohol. In closing, I'd like to say, help us help your constitute towards a happier and healthy life. These personal pursuits of happiness, as stated on the Bill of Rights and our Constitution.
Thank you, Mr. Berry.
Thank you.
Was it
Mr. Chairman.
Garrett? I'm sorry, was it Garrett or Berry? Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Elijah Devon Pointer. Pointer. All right. There's an original study in 1937 where bias propaganda to manipulate public's opinion from pharmaceutical industries and are harming the public, creating addicts, and then vilifying the victim as the crime. Synthetic pills are made to treat ailments instead of curing them. As I see it, nothing but greed and power addicts are cause of it all. Marijuana is not a gateway drug, alcohol is. And I have never heard of a marijuana user, stoner, as they call it, pothead, robbing a bank or killing someone, personally. In general, marijuana users are peaceful citizens, especially when stoned, is what I'm getting at here. All right? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good morning. My name is William Anderson. This is a continuing speech in 5 sections. We did it so we'd have enough time for your 2 minutes.
Thank you.
And thank you. The side effects of marijuana are way different and more benign than the corporate pharmaceutical industry drugs they advertise on TV. For example, they say, take this pill for anal leakage, but the side effects may cause anal leakage. Sounds like a placebo to me. Marijuana works for so many ailments, it would take too long to mention them all here. And here are some of the main side effects of marijuana use. Lethargy, moving kind of slow. Hunger, I got the munchies. Thirst, I got cotton mouth, man, got something to drink. Forgetfulness, we call it a brain fart. And it's basically laughter, smiles, and silliness all in fun, and the socialization of like-minded individuals on a peaceful level. Medical marijuana is not only creating a wide aspect of treatments, but is vigorously working towards cures. Now, I understand the federal law, but what confounds me is the county disavowing state law. Can you explain this to us, and why are you doing this? What is your motivation and goals in doing this? You have been informed of the positive benefits of marijuana legalization. Why do you remain ignorant of the facts of this issue? I say this without prejudice.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Who'll be next?
Hi, good morning. My name is Jim Castellanos, formerly from Green Coast Cooperative. We've been located in Bakersfield since 2010. The reason I'm here is just to speak to you guys and just kind of let you know that I'm kind of upset with you guys. Shame on you guys. You guys have been had the opportunity to actually make things better. We've been all trying to get together, trying to work things out, but for some reason you guys just keep pulling back. Right now the county is in a deficit, and with 2022, there's not going to be any more fracking in Kern County, I believe. That's what Lorelei Ovia said. So we need to figure out a way how we can benefit and actually allow to help, Kern County Fire Department figure out how to tax the business. And you guys know, you guys just probably trying to figure out the best way for align your interest. Unfortunately, Letitia's not here, and that's where it's kind of like, it's kind of interesting on what she's doing, and you guys have to prove what you guys been doing. I appreciate your time. I'm gonna respect my time for the next minute in silence. I'm gonna pray. And for the last 10 seconds, I pray for you, Devin Brown.
Thank you very much. Who'll be next?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Denora Cordova, and I wanted you guys to also consider on the cannabis industry as a business, you also have a lot of employees and a lot of families that would be affected. I understand our point of views cannot be the same. I've never used, but we do employ over 20 families, and if you put all the 28 shops that are licensed, you're dealing with about 100 families, excuse me, that will be left unemployed. Not just the people that are not receiving their medicines, but please consider all the people that would become unemployed. And is there any way maybe we could try to make some kind of resolution where we could work with each other instead of actually arguing with each other? And we'll be open to do some type of resolution for that. So thank you, and I won't be wasting my 2 minutes on that. Just wanted you guys to consider you will be affecting a lot of families with children with employment. So thank you.
Thank you. How many others would like to speak on this topic? 1, 2, I see 3. Is that right? 4, 5, 6. How many?
Hello.
Hang
Good
on one
morning.
quick second. How about an accurate count? Because we've got other business to do, and I might take.
You have other people coming as well, though.
Okay, well so did you say there are 8 here now? Okay. After, we'll have you speak, and then after that, I'm going to move to item 10, which will be very short, and item 15, and then we'll come back to public statements.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Michelle A. Pointer. I'm here to speak on my experience as a cannabis patient from 2012 to present. That's be about 7, 8 years now. And I used to work for Northrop Grumman Aerospace as a security officer one year when I got into a van pull accident, and I dislocated my my knee, and had to wear a DonJoy brace for about a year. The medications that the doctor gave me to recover made me so sick. I just couldn't, my stomach couldn't take it. But then when cannabis became legal, I began to use the alternative medication to cure my pain ailments and stuff over the years, back spasms, I had chest spasms, back contusions, I had all kinds of injuries because we ran into a big rig. Fan pool did. Anyway, make a long story short, like I said, I've been a patient for years now, and if you guys take away the shops, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't take any medications from the doctors or anything because, like I said, my body doesn't take it. I'm also a bodybuilder, and I use it to cure my pain ailments in that aspect as well. I also use it because it cures cancer, and so, and a lot of other ailments. I also have sleep apnea, so I can't sleep at night sometimes, and so it also helps me to sleep. The best thing about the cannabis that I like is the side effects, which is natural. Sleep and eat. That's what we do on a natural basis. The other side effects from doctors giving us this pharmaceutical stuff, it's killing us, basically. And this is why I say alternative medication, because that's exactly what it is. It's giving me the choice, which God gave us all the choice, to decide whether I want to kill myself quicker or cure myself faster. And this is just the reason why I say alternative medication. It's important, and a lot of patients rely on it.
Ms. Pointer, could I ask you to bring your statement to a close, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
And this is why I'm for keeping the cannabis shops open. Thank you very much for considering my conversation.
You bet. Thank you for coming. We're going to come back to item 10, which is public presentations, as I just said when she was speaking. So stick around. It won't take too long, I don't believe. So I'm going to move on from item 9. Item 9. We're going to come back to item 9. I think I said we're going to come back to item 10. We're going to come back to item 9 in a few minutes. Move on to item 10, which is board member announcements and reports. Seeing none, I have one short request. I know I asked last meeting for copies of the local vendor preference ordinances from the 14 counties of comparison, and I have not received those yet. So could you see that I'd like to get those, if possible, not only in hard copy, but in email. Either way, thank you. And I believe I also had a request from Mr. Walker. You wanted to give us a short briefing on, I believe it's a community survey.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Bill Walker, your Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services Director. And in the packet that I gave that you saw earlier, there's 2 documents in them. One of them is a survey, and the other is the Building Sustainable Transitions of Care for People with Addiction in Kern County. One of my hats as the Behavioral Health Director is to manage the Department of Health Care Services prevention programs. And so the survey that we are conducting is a requirement of the state of our prevention and treatment programs, and it's a requirement for our 5-year prevention grant. The data that will be collected from these surveys will be used to determine which prevention strategies are most effective, help guide targeted education about potential dangers of opioid use in Kern County, help the Drug-Free Coalition determine where in the community to focus our efforts. And the survey will be re-administrated in the future, so this baseline will help us see the effects of ongoing drug use. I'd like to bring to your attention also that the recent legalization of marijuana at the state level has changed perception of harm among youth and adults, and research indicates that lowered perception of harm leads to increase in use among youth, and gathering this data will assist in the prevention efforts for youth and parents. So you have a copy of that document. It's posted on our website. We will be doing quite a campaign, both in English and Spanish, to get people to give us their perceptions of drug use in our community. And again, it'll help us to set forward our plans for prevention. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. There will be a link on the county website as well that will, people look for this on our website at the county. It'll direct them to the current BHRS website.
Thank you. This is just a public statement, or excuse me, this is I asked you to give us this briefing, so do I need to ask for public comment on this particular item? Okay.
But we want to make public comments on this particular item since this was
I don't need to ask for public comment on a particular statement made by someone, otherwise the meeting would never end, which might be your objective. So I'm going to allow Mr. Walker to sit down, but I think he's going to come right back up because we're going to move on to item 15, which is the Behavioral Health Board 2018 Annual Report to the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you. Again, Bill Walker, Kern BHRS. This is a bittersweet moment for me because every year we do our annual report to the board and our sitting chair presents it. And Dr. David Stabenfeld, the pastor of the First Congregational Church, United Church of Christ, has just been an excellent person on our board, excellent chairman. And in presenting this report afterwards, he's actually leaving our community. He's moving away. So this will be one of my last opportunities to honor him and all the work that he's done. And on homelessness, if you've ever heard of the Blessing Box, which is a place where people can bring food, put it in a box for people that are homeless who can come by and get it. The first one was on his church grounds. My wife actually serves on the board of this group. And so this is a great man. And I just wanted to say that before he made the presentation about our annual report. Dr. David Stabenfeld.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Bittersweet is the right word. The honor of being on this board has helped me understand the range of support services that are offered throughout our community. If you take a minute and look at the report, now you're going to take at least an hour because the report suggests a huge range of help and hope for people. And behavioral health and recovery services is in the business of getting into the messiness of life, standing with people who oftentimes are ostracized and need somebody to care. When you saw all of the support that came forward earlier in the meeting, showing forth all the range of people, just think each of those people carry a story of help and hope. And I know my son has been one of those who has received help and hope through these programs. I just want you to understand, probably more than I can convince anyone, that this organization is as important to this community as any organization there is. And I am grateful for your continued support. And if there's ever a time that we need to attend to mental health issues, it's in this generation. And thank you very much. And I just invite you to take some time to analyze the report. Thank you.
We'll do it. I'm going to open this up to, thank you, Doctor, for your service. We'll miss you. I'm going to open this up to comment by the public. This is not public comment. This is comment on this particular item. But you're free to comment on this item.
Thank you for having me up here again. I was on my way out and overheard all these wonderful people speaking on the topic of medical marijuana.
Could you give us your name?
My name is Sharon Hicks, SharonHicks. I'm a patient advocate for 50 to 100 million patients who are suffering in pain daily. I believe that medical cannabis should be allowed in Kern County and taxed for anybody suffering in pain. Anybody. And it's a shame that this county has just let that go to the wayside. The opiate epidemic has been created by illegal, illicit drugs, not by patients that are on prescribed medications by their doctors. There's false reports on that. You need to study up on it, find out what's happening. There's an epidemic now of people who are suffering in pain, who are being abandoned by their doctors, and now all they have is cannabis. So if Kern County doesn't pick up the ball and grab those tax dollars, you're going to be really sorry, because there's 50 to 100 million people who are going to go elsewhere to get their cannabis. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on the report from? And I would ask, I understand you are advocating for cannabis, but this item is on the Behavioral Health Board 2018 report.
I apologize. They made a statement about the cannabis and addiction and all of that. So it is, her comment does concern.
I'm sorry, it's her turn to speak.
Yeah, let her speak.
Hello, everybody.
I was not stopping her from speaking. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Kat, K-A-T, Philly, P-H-I-L-L-Y. I just want to say the taxes from medical marijuana clinics could alleviate those deficits in so many of the counties. The projects, the programs which are being discontinued for lack of funds for homelessness, the fire departments that we, previously mentioned. Medical marijuana is a multi-billion-dollar industry and could easily cover those deficits. We're not here as addicts, junkies, what have you. We're here as concerned citizens and medical patients. Please consider us as such. Thank you.
Thank you. How many of you would like to speak to this item? Can I get you to come to the front row if you'd like to speak, so we can get you to the microphone quickly? I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Maria Cardenas, and I am speaking on Kern Behavioral Health Month. As a recipient of Kern Behavioral Health Services, I would like to say that...
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Current Behavioral Health Month?
Month. Oh, yeah, I don't know if it's month or day, the recognition that we're doing for the Kern
I need you
Behavioral.
to address your comments to this item, which is the annual report to the board.
Well, either way,
No, not either way. That was the item, and now this is the opportunity for the public to speak to that particular item.
okay, then I'll just take 2 minutes of silence since I don't know what we're talking about. I thought we were talking about Kern Behavioral.
This is not public statements, so we're not going to.
Well, okay, can I get predisposed to what we're talking about? Because I thought we were talking about Kern Behavioral. That's what the.
If you have you got an agenda?
Huh? An agenda? How?
Do you have an agenda?
Yes.
Do you have an agenda in the back of the room? If you look at these.
No. Oh, no, I do not.
Okay, let me do us a favor. Go grab an agenda, and I'll ask somebody else to come up to the microphone, and then you can come after them. Okay. And I want to sort of walk you through what's happening. Who'll be next? And she can come after you.
Just want to speak upon the report that you guys, and I just want to pray upon that report. The title of the prayer is the Sar Hapanim, which is the Hebrew of the Prince of the Face, and is recited during the Rosh Hashanah between the blowing of the shofar. The prayer names of the Kohen Gadol as Yeshua, who is the one and atones of our sins. The prayer is the following: May it be your will and sounding of the shofar, which we have done and embroidered in the veil and appointed angel, as he accepted Elijah of the blessed memory of and by Yeshua, the Prince of the Face, and who sits on God's throne. May you be filled with compassion towards us, deserving the praise you are, Lord, in compassion. Behind the Kern, Siddur Hashim. Another translation reads before, may it be your will before you and sounding of the Teshrat, and they blow be woven into the curtain by the hand of the minister, Tartel, like the name that was received by the hand of Elijah. In memory be the blessing in Yeshua, Prince of the Face, and the Prince of Metatron. And you may be filled with the mercy of us. Blessed you are, Master and merciless. You guys need to pray for your sins. You guys are doing a crime by have an agenda against the medical marijuana. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to ask for, I'm going to ask the clerk to use the 2-minute clock, which council advises me is perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
So we're on item 15. Did Mr. Labad, I don't know what he told you, so did he explain that we're on item 15 and it's the Behavioral Health Board 2018 annual report to the
Okay.
Board of Supervisors?
The annual report, just looking at everything that I'm just kind of skimmed through right now, it just kind of seems like everybody kind of just needs funding. Everybody just needs a little bit of money. And I kind of feel like it's redundant to keep saying that the revenues that can come out of the facilities that have already been given the okay and now have been given the no okay to make and give a service that will not only benefit the people here today going to come here and tell you that they are recipients of the service, medical marijuana, but also the people who are not receiving the legitimate medicine, but receiving the benefits of the revenues coming out of the people paying for this medicine. It seems like everybody just needs a little bit of extra money, so why would you guys turn down an extra chunk of change? Why? I don't even need the 2 minutes. It's extra money that you guys shouldn't question. It's something that is not only going to give a simple service to the community on good note, another good note, win-win, you guys get money that you guys clearly need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be next. We had a bunch of people down here to speak. If you don't, I assume because when you left, you don't want to speak. Mr. Labad.
I apologize. I didn't.
I asked a bunch of people to come and, if they wanted to speak, to come to the front row, and then they left, so I'm assuming they don't want to speak.
If you don't mind, can I say something about this, please?
You got 2 minutes, you can say anything you want.
Thank you, sir. And thank you very much for giving me that 2 minutes. If we're talking about behavioral issues, we all know, and it cannot be denied, that a lot of behavioral issues deals with drugs. Serious drugs, heroin, all kinds of addiction to prescription medication. And here we are talking about behavioral problems, however, behavioral health. However, we're talking about marijuana as something as bad as heroin. We all know marijuana isn't as bad as heroin. Otherwise, Zach Scribner wouldn't have sold it while he was in college. Or somebody else would not have, from this board, would not have benefited if it was as bad as heroin.
Could I ask you to confine your comments to the report from the Behavioral Health Department?
I am. He said that.
No, I think you went off script there just a little bit.
That's not true. That's not true. I apologize. But there was a comment which said that because of legalization of marijuana, the youths or the young people think it's okay to try marijuana. And that basically what that does is it basically puts marijuana in the same category as everything else. And that's not true. A lot of people who have behavioral problems, such as alcohol, which I believe is a behavioral problem, or other addictions, use marijuana to get off those addictions with far less side effects. And you guys know this. However, you guys haven't found how you can personally benefit from it, or we won't let you personally benefit. Are you serious? Are you going to smirk at me when I say that? You know there's somebody here that personally benefited.
I'm not
so
smirking
don't
at you.
smirk then.
I'm not. I'm looking at you.
Okay, well, you know you're personally benefiting, and thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next? I say, I have no other comments. I'll return it to the board for questions, comments, and action. He doesn't look like he's getting up. I don't see any other speakers on this item, so I'll ask for questions, comments, and action from the board.
Thanks, sir. I have no questions at this time.
Comments? I'm sorry.
I just heard you return it to the board, and I want to confirm that by saying that I have no questions at the present time.
Okay, so would you like to make a motion to
Sure.
keep it file?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
Sir, I don't know if you want to speak or you just.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you your 2 minutes, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay. Well, I'm just on the shops and stuff stay open. I
That's
work
not-
every day.
I'm not sure that that's really addressing, I'm going to come back to public statements in
Okay.
a moment.
My
It's
bad.
probably,
Thank you.
it's probably a better time to do that. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, so let's return to item 9, which is public statements. This is the portion, I know we haven't done 20, we're going to go to 28, but I want to see if we can move through some of this. This is public statement. We're back on public presentations again. If you want to speak about an item that is not on the agenda, but it's under the jurisdiction of the board. Yes, sir, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk on the shops in Roseman. I believe they should stay open. I believe Scott Slowick, S-L-O-W-I-K. I work every day. I have a son. I go home, I sleep, I work. That's all I do. I need the shops for my medical purposes, and yeah, it's just good for everybody all the way around. Creates jobs, all that. So, pass it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who'll be next? How many would like to speak? Public statements. Come on down. Well, if you've already spoken under public statements, we're good. You have not.
No.
Okay.
My name is Pernell Johnson, and I use marijuana because it helped me because I was born with problems. So I'm asking you guys to help the community, to help us, so we can help y'all, out. And basically, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You bet. Who'll be next?
Hi, my name is Leon Buckley.
I'm sorry, say it again, sir?
My name is Leon Buckley.
Leon Buckley, thank you.
Yeah. And I use medical marijuana for my pain. I have a ruptured L4 and L5 in my back, and then I have no cartilage in my knees, and it hurts when I walk. So I use marijuana for those pains, because the pills, you get addicted to them, and a lot of people overdose on them, and I don't like taking pills. So I smoke marijuana, and it does me good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. Any other public statements? Ma'am, I know you already spoke under public statements, and that's what we're on, so.
Oh, well, it's about a different statement.
No, each person gets 2 minutes to speak about any subject they want, or any multiple subjects they want, but you don't get 2 minutes per subject. So we'll be meeting again next Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Any other public statements? Seeing none, we'll move past item 9. I won't come back to item 9 this morning anyway. And move on to item, I believe it's 28. This is a proposed termination of an existing Microsoft enrollment agreement and the proposed countywide consolidation of Microsoft enrollment agreement with Insight, Inc. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Chief Information Technology Officer Mac Avancina will be presenting this item.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Chairman Couch, Board of Supervisors, good morning. I'd like to first highlight ITS's partnership with your Launch Kern initiative to help frame the importance of this request. To date, our ITS Launch Kern program has yielded almost $400,000 of hard savings. These are actual expenses paid to outside non-Kern County entities for services that support and manage our IT systems across the county. This was done primarily through renegotiating contracts and consolidating vendors. In the past 10 months, we've successfully deployed 7 projects, trained 30 employees, and currently one of my leaders is in Greenbelt training to drive our continual process improvements moving forward. The successful partnership with Launch Kern demonstrates our commitment to simplified management, standardization, and optimization. I'm highlighting this because on December 20th, 2016, your board made a strategic investment to move our email system to Office 365, which also resulted in our county standardizing on Microsoft Office products. Since then, our software entitlement environment has now expanded to our current licensing landscape that consists of 19 separate enterprise agreements, 50 Select Plus agreements, 6 Office 365 tenants. From Microsoft's point of view, Kern County looks like multiple small, medium businesses, not one large enterprise environment that we are today. Our purchasing and licensing weren't designed with simplification and centralization in mind when we started this journey in 2016, and that's the problem we're solving today. In October 2018, ITS led the discovery in evaluating our overall Microsoft spend on licenses and services. It's taken us 7 months to get to where we are today to report out to your board the results of our analysis. I'm here to request your board authorize a consolidation effort, terminating our current license models and enter into a single countywide enrollment resulting in a cost-predictable, universal Microsoft standard for our 8,363 current users. We are in year 3 of a 3-year agreement. You may be familiar that Microsoft is moving to a subscription-based model where they now only sell you subscriptions that's priced monthly. We don't own the software any longer, and that's just the general direction that the industry is moving around. Moreover, we're moving into a climate where true-up, that is the new negotiated costs benchmarked across other counties, are seeing an uptick of roughly 16% annually. This information was sourced through CISDA, which is the California County Information Services Directors Association, of which I'm a member. Moving to a consolidated model over 3 years will cost $4.7 million for year 1 and $4.5 million for year 2 and 3. However, doing this will save us $650,000 annually because standardizing on Microsoft's products eliminates other non-Microsoft systems that will be rendered duplicative. Therefore, our net cost is only marginally higher than what we pay today, and we benefit from standardization of users and cost models, which we do not have today. Our department, ITS, is charged with leading our modern workplace to help drive Kern's digital transformation. Our modern workplace with this Microsoft agreement results in standardization and consolidation. We all 8,363 of us, have a common user experience. This modern workplace with Microsoft agreements also results in efficiencies. This is part of your board's Lean Six initiatives. It encourages us to collaborate using our standardized tool set. And moreover, from a cost benefit, we're no longer restricted by different versions of software. This is the future of IT as a service. We pay as we grow. We have no waste. We eliminate redundant licensing as a result. In summary, this is one of several ITS initiatives that we're leading to drive new efficiencies, to simplify our environment, to reduce variation, and provide a consistent and cost-controlled user experience. With $389,000 already of savings already booked, $650,000 by way of this Microsoft year-over-year agreement, we've hit that $1 million threshold, and we still have 2 months left in the fiscal year, and we estimate an additional $250,000 of savings that we have internally in ITS's pipeline. Therefore, along with the County Administrative Office, on behalf of our 8,363 users, we recommend that your board approve the consolidation and termination of the current Microsoft Enterprise enrollments and enter into a single county-wide agreement for the acquisition of Microsoft licensed products and services from June 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022 for a total term of 37 months in an estimated amount of $13,825,258 and authorize the purchasing agent to sign Microsoft Enterprise enrollment licensing documents. This concludes my presentation. Are there any other questions?
Thank you. Let me open it up to the public. Is there anyone here who would like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none, I return to the board. That was last time.
Got it. Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, did you say?
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the thorough and succinct presentation. Continue to be so grateful and impressed with your work and how you're moving these issues along as really is incredibly impressive, consummate professional. So I am so pleased to make the motion and to thank you and your team for tightening our belts in this arena and performing better overall. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez.
is Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. I'd like to just go over the math so I understand a little better in my brain. It's a cost of $13.8 million to build this new system. And we are doing that, and we're creating $660,000 a year annual. Is that ongoing of savings?
The $650,000 is ongoing year over year for the next 3 years. That's the term of the contract. The $13.8 million is effectively roughly the same amount of money that we're going to be spending today. What we want to do from an ITS perspective in partnership with the CAO and the General Services Sourcing and Procurement Department was to consolidate all of these fragmented licenses that we have with Microsoft. And in so doing, we're now leveraging a better economy of scale and being able to leverage better cost structures, quite frankly. And so by doing this, we actually eliminate all the variation of Microsoft products across our 41 business units into one product family. That allows everybody from the Board of Supervisors to behavioral health to all the other departments to have the same Microsoft user experience across all those 8,363 users for effectively the same cost that we would be paying today.
Okay, so my question was, I'm sorry.
Is that a good thing?
I think it's a great
to have
thing.
the same experience?
It's a great, well, it's actually a better thing in many regards. You have additional capabilities that we don't currently have license and entitlements to today. And we also have other software products that are effectively competitors to Microsoft that we would now replace because it would be part of our Microsoft license structure, and that's the $650,000 of cost that we would eliminate from our current OpEx today.
So I don't doubt at all your the goodness of this. There's no doubt in my mind that we're entering the 21st century, which we should have done earlier. I'm just concerned, can we afford it? So I just want to go over the numbers real quick. So the numbers are, what I hear you say is that $13 million is already spent money.
It's committed dollars for the next 3 years. That's basically our run rate for Microsoft products today.
And that's budgeted.
Yes, sir.
And what you're doing by investing that $13.8 million in the way that you've designed the centralized system, you're creating efficiencies, not only in operational efficiency, but in financial efficiency by creating savings that we've already sunk $400,000 into, you said, and then $680,000, achieving a $1 million right off the gun. We're saving $1 million, but then it's an ongoing saving of $660,000 a year.
Yeah, $650,000 a year, specifically by way of this Microsoft agreement. I started off our presentation by talking about ITS's partnership with the Launch Kern initiative, and this far, outside of the Microsoft agreement, we've already saved close to $400,000 a year.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. So I get the sense, and my understanding of the math is, there's no doubt this is a good thing to do and what we want to do, but it's also something that we can afford and it's going to create efficiencies for us. So I'm going to make a motion on staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you. You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
I think that takes us to the end of the morning session. Just need a motion to adjourn to closed session. Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Good job, Dave.